It's on.
It's on, and we are talking today about game week 2.
Game week 2 of the Premier League. All right, people. So, let's talk about Chelsea West Ham.
First off, first game of the week.
First game of the week, that was on Friday. Chelsea just beat the brakes off of West Ham. Whooped them solidly. The game started out, West Ham were looking effective. They were looking like they, might be able to do something. And within the first 10 minutes, they scored a goal. I think it was like the 6th minute. Paqueta, or whatever his name is, the Brazilian guy, just smashed in a belter. Bad defense, horrible goalkeeping. Sanchez was totally caught, didn't know what was going to happen, and jumped the wrong way, and then was leaning the wrong way, and kind of it was just horrible. Just a combination of chaos and bad defending and bad goalkeeping. Then we proceeded to totally dominate the game and win. 5-1.
Huge win. Was it at West Ham, too?
Yeah, it was at West Ham.
Yeah.
Yep, big win.
Game.
West Ham they have Graham Potter as their coach. They're not going to do well. They're screwed.
Yeah.
So, Estevao, that's the standout player of the game. Not because he was the best player in the game, but because he's so young and a little bit of an unknown entity. And what he showed in that game is that at the highest level, he can compete and be very, very effective. So I'm very excited for how that went. He just looks like Vinny Jr. He looks like a version of Vinny Jr.
Estevao, I believe, was man of the match as well, which is a little odd because I think his stats were maybe not there. But
He had a great assist.
Yeah, he did a great job.
And he was continually dangerous. The way he moves with the ball, though, and how he takes on defenders and the passing decisions he makes, he plays like he's a seasoned 28-year-old dynamic Premier League winger veteran. He looks good. He looks really good. So hopefully that keeps going. Yeah, it is huge. It is huge.
It's a very wild card thing. You bring in a young Brazilian, right?
Yep, from Brazil.
Yep, straight from Brazil, and he just hits the ground running.
We paid $30 million for him, £30 million. So it's like $35 million or something.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, so we paid a lot of money for him, and for an 18-year-old. So it's but it seems to be immediately paying off. Another important thing to note about the game, Cole Palmer went off injured in warm-ups.
Oh, yeah. In warm-ups. I thought he played.
No, in warm-ups he went off injured. So he did not play a single minute in the game.
Okay.
And I think he's trying to be extra sensitive and careful. And why not? We played the Club World Cup, played the entire duration of the competition. So basically guys got a month off, if that.
Right.
I don't even know if they got that much. So he's probably worn down, and he's probably trying to just, out of an abundance of caution, he decided I don't know, I feel something's off and want to, his hammy or something.
And apparently Chelsea didn't need Cole Palmer in that game.
Not for West Ham.
Yep.
Any team coached by Graham Potter probably not going to need Cole Palmer in order to absolutely obliterate them. Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about an awful coach. This is another thing I want to mention about this. These guys like Potter, who gave off the appearance of being good, but then once they actually got some resources and a decent team, you're like, what is going on? Ange had this with Spuds. A lot of teams have had this. They bring in this coach that seems like they got all this potential. A lot of times it's like a young and up-and-coming coach.
Right. And
the coach talks about the style of play we want. There's a way I want us to play the game, and it's always their sales pitch to the club board is that it's going to be an attractive style of soccer. Then you see them out there, and it's like you can't figure out what's going on. You don't know what the tactical scheme is, and it's because they're overly ambitious and they do not understand the weak points and the strong points of each individual player. So they don't know how to put people in the right position and how to apply the correct tactical scheme to get the best out of the team as a whole in order for the ultimate result, which is a winning result. So Villas-Boas, he was probably one of the first ones that came into Chelsea with new ideas and a different style. And then when they got out there and played, you're like, what is going on? Unless they were playing like a relegation team, you just couldn't figure out what tactically was happening. And it's because they're idiots and they're overcomplicating things and they think they're Pep Guardiola and they're not. Graham Potter, Frank Lampard, Villas-Boas, a lot of other young and up-and-coming coaches come in and they're tactically over-ambitious and they forget that the ultimate deciding factor on their fate as a manager is the result, and they should do whatever it takes tactically to make that happen. It's not about attractive, entertaining soccer because that's subjective anyways. It's about getting results.
Yeah, attractive, entertaining soccer doesn't necessarily win games, first of all. And, Potter, when he went up 1-0 against Chelsea, should have made sure he kept the lead. But instead he, continues on with his offensive plan, and it doesn't work out. And when a team goes up, typically, if you're the first team to go up in a game, typically the opponent is going to come back extra offensively. They're really going to put pressure on you.
Yeah.
And you have to be prepared for that. And I think a lot of these offensive managers, some that you've mentioned, they focus so much on offense that they just forget about defense altogether. And so it's all focus on offense, and it's all focus on keeping the other team pinned back. If the other team gets the ball, we put a lot of pressure on them in the final third and mark everybody. But they don't know how to get the ball back. When the other team is coming at them and attacking them, they don't know how to defend. And that's where you get that, real just back and forth insanity where you have these players running around like chickens with their head cut off because they don't know how to play defense. Their manager is not giving them any kind of defensive tactical instructions that are apparently useful.
Yeah.
And so
they
just end up getting obliterated like this.
They're always defensively really poor. And because they think they're going to defend from the front like Pep Guardiola. Everything's kind of influenced. Everything's coming through the lens of Pep Guardiola and what they saw with his iconic Barcelona squads, basically.
Right.
And you don't have Xavi, you don't have Iniesta, you don't have Busquets, you don't have Lionel Messi, you don't have Samuel Eto'o, you don't have Ibrahimovic, you don't have that team. You got to rethink how things are. And you need to think about how to get the most out of your team to get the win. And that may mean hitting people on the counter or playing super defensive and just looking for a set piece opportunity or whatever. And it would serve teams that are competing at the top to do that more often, I think. Oftentimes they're hyper allergic to that style of I'm going to conform the team to the opponent and I'm not going to be totally committed to one style of play, and they don't do that and it kind of costs them the big opportunities. Ange is the most recent best example of that.
Ange. On this note about how the big managers handle it, like Arteta, I think, has done a great job of making sure that his team can defend. And he's parked the bus many times. I got one point wrong in our last episode about the game versus Man United. We had 40% possession against Man United. Mm-hmm. And people were upset about the way we played and it wasn't very entertaining. But we won. Mm-hmm. We won the game. And Amorim, in all his offensive glory, lost. And Pep Guardiola, he has focus on his defense. I don't think he has a good defense, but I think one big thing that these successful offensive teams do is they buy the best defensive talent. And if you do that, if you go and you spend good money on defenders, you can only play so badly, only play so poorly. And they get good coaches to coach their defense.
Great defenders will cover a multitude of sins.
Yeah.
One last comment about the Chelsea game, and we'll move on. West Ham, that team that Graham Potter has, he inherited from David Moyes. And David Moyes is a bit dense, in my opinion, in compared to a lot of the other top managers. Well, he's not a top manager, but at one point he was considered that. Regardless, I think he's not as brilliant as people crack him up to be. He's good, though. He's good. He's good. However, he is focused on playing conservative, defensive-minded soccer. And Potter inherited his squad and then wants to implement his style. And the result was we can't figure out what the style is. Mm-hmm. You can't figure out what exactly they're trying to do tactically. And that's really bad.
It is very bad. Yeah,
it's a bad thing.
To kind of emphasize this, they also lost against Leeds last week, first game of the season.
Oofda.
Wait, was it It was Sunderland. They lost 3-0. So they're, I mean, West Ham are tanking.
Yeah,
Graham
Potter's
Potter,
going to get fired.
Yeah, probably the first manager to get fired at this rate. I mean, he is not doing well.
He's trash.
Yeah, he is trash. Now, speaking of Ange, Tottenham beat ManCity 2-0.
At home.
At home.
Etihad.
At the Etihad. And for me, this really, once again, emphasizes how bad Ange Postecoglou is. Because they finished like bottom half of the table last season, and then new manager immediately hit the ground running, beat one of the best teams in the league 2-0 at home. Angie, by the way, he has earned the pronunciation of the letter E in his name. Angie Postecoglou. That's his name from now on. Yeah, he's bad. No, stay away from him. Frank is really good. And I don't know. What do you think about that result? That was pretty shocking for me. I
was shocked. I didn't see that coming. I hold Thomas Frank in the utmost highest respects. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's really, really good. But you never know when somebody's trying to like jump up a level, if maybe there's going to be too much pressure, something's going to be wrong, and they're not going to. But he is a seasoned manager. He's achieved a lot with not a lot of resources. Tottenham's going to give him more resources and a slightly more talented team. And it seems like he's capitalizing on it fully. And I was super impressed with the result. It was typical. This is how you beat ManCity, or for that matter, any Pep Guardiola team that's ever existed in the history of Pep Guardiola. Hit them on the counter, be really fast, be really aggressive, and play really tight defense. You know, and just take advantage of your chances. And that, unfortunately, for a lot of teams, requires you to have the people that can take advantage of those chances, which usually means you have to have an elite, really good team to do that. But it did expose Pep to the fact that, once again, as I've always maintained, his teams are not set up to defend. So, and that's why that tactic works, is because like they are not last-ditch defenders. They aren't like throw their body. It's not that they're not willing to throw. They're just like the instincts for last-ditch defending is not there. He doesn't pick up those types of defenders.
Right.
He in the past he's inherited some of those, like Puyol, was like this last-ditch, like throw your, he was that type of guy. He was like hard as nails and brutal, and he also was skillful too. And but in the case of the current iteration of ManCity and their defense, it's not that. These are like ball-playing, fancy pants center backs and defenders. And when they get put on the back foot, they kind of freak out, and they don't know what to do because they're not used to it, and they're not really training for that. And then that's how you beat them. And I think it's too early to tell, but I think it is definitely a sign of things to come. I do not think ManCity is going to win the league. They're going to be top four. I think they're probably going to finish fourth or third.
Fourth or third. I was really shocked by this game. I thought City were going to do much better.
I thought they were going to steamroll Spuds.
Well, I didn't think that. I thought Tottenham had a good chance of pulling off an upset, but not this way. I didn't think that Tottenham would would play that well. Man City didn't do much of anything in the game. Like, they really struggled. It was pretty bad for City. It was...
Holland missed a sitter.
Oh, he did.
At least one.
Yeah.
At least one.
They did have their opportunities.
Yeah.
But 2-0, I did not expect that.
I did not expect that either.
That was a pretty big win for Tottenham. I don't know that Tottenham are going to be like that consistent throughout the season because I just think they have a lean squad, and Man City too. I think they're going to both have their problems, but
Man City has to replace Kevin De Bruyne.
Right.
I don't know what else needs to be said. I don't know how you replace Kevin De Bruyne.
Right.
There's not exactly just a bunch of 1-for-1s for Kevin De Bruyne just sitting out there,
Right.
And there certainly weren't in their squad before that. And so I don't think that's a huge adjustment. Also, their defense is not very strong, and they've had they have a couple different people they have to replace there, or have had to replace. And we don't know if they're going to fit into the system. We don't know what's going to happen. So I just think that they're going to do well on momentum and Erling Haaland's ability, but they're not going to. Ultimately, I think they're going to fall well short of competing for the title. I think they're going to settle in at third or fourth. I think that the second and first place in the Premier League, I think they're going to run away with it, and it's going to come down to the wire for the second and first place. And I think third place on down is going to be pretty tight.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tight in there.
Third place on down. First and second will be...
They're going to run away.
Yeah.
They're gonna finish with 8 or 10 point gap between them and third.
Yeah, I don't view it quite the same way as you do. I think Arsenal are going to run away with it. Similarly to the way that Liverpool did last season. I thought that Chelsea would get second in the league, a dark horse team, but these two first games for Chelsea were not that impressive to me. Of course, they tied Crystal Palace. That was bad. And then it's understandable because it's a new manager, new team, new season, first game of the season. They had a long summer, whatever. But still, the West Ham game, although they did crush West Ham are really bad. And so it's take that game, that result with a grain of salt. Potter's probably going to get fired. West Ham aren't going to do very well. They could get relegated at this rate.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. That wasn't terribly impressive. But I do still think Chelsea second. City are not looking good third.
Yeah.
And then Liverpool fourth. Which, to me, that's why I say Arsenal are really showing a good team. A lot of good purchases in the summer. We're here to win everything. We're here to win the league.
Yeah.
No other team is showing that same level of
I think
ambition.
Grinding out that win against ManU, it's funny because people are like, well, and some people are like, it's like they're Stoke or something. But I was like, no, that's being results oriented and not believing all the hype, but instead being pragmatic. Even though you have the tools to not be pragmatic, but knowing that let's go with a option where we're going to do what we need to do to win, but not expose ourselves due to our egos to potential failure. And I think that's smart. And I think this is a gear that Arteta has developed. He used to be a manager of conviction where he was like, we play this way always against every team. And he realized you can't do that in the Premier League unless you have $1 billion budget.
Yeah.
And the decades of experience that somebody like Pep Guardiola has. And he has neither. So he has a lot of experience, but not that much experience. So he's like, okay, I'm going to do what makes sense. And that's how you win. So I think it is the results from these last two games from Arsenal. People think that first result was underwhelming or what. Mm-hmm. No, That's exactly what you want. You
Yep.
want to show that you can get those wins that are tough and challenging and are ugly.
Opening day of the season at Old Trafford, one of the most difficult stadiums to play in.
Yeah.
To win there in any condition, in any,
And so,
way is
then of course they
amazing.
go and blow out Leeds. That's not
Yeah.
surprising at all.
Just before
But-
we talk about that,
Yeah.
about the Arsenal Leeds, Man City didn't start Rodri as well. So no Rodri, no DeBruyne. Of course, DeBruyne is gone.
Rodri,
But
I don't think was even
replacing-
on the bench.
No, he did get subbed in.
Oh, he did?
He did get subbed
Okay,
in.
so they're
he's
trying to
coming,
nurse him back.
He's coming back.
Fitness.
But I would be surprised if he's going to be the same player he was before tearing his ACL, which was a non-contact injury, by the
Yeah.
way. So it was a bad ACL tear. So him and De Bruyne out. Those are two Ballon d'Or level. I mean, Rodri won the Ballon d'Or,
Yeah.
which is rare for a midfielder.
Yeah.
So replacing two players of that level is very difficult, and they just haven't done it. They have
Yeah.
not replaced either of them, really.
No.
People were really excited about the Reijnders guy,
The Dutch guy, yeah.
Johnny Reijnders.
I don't think it's Rangers. I don't think it's
Reindeer.
I don't know. Who cares?
Reindeer. I'm calling him Reindeer.
Let's call him Reindeer.
Yeah, he works for Santa. So it clearly is not De Bruyne. If you were, and people were really excited about him, but
He's good. No, he's very good. He was great in AC. He was great
fine.
at AC Milan. He was great in Serie A. He's going to be
Yeah.
good. He's not Kevin De Bruyne.
not Kevin De Bruyne. Exactly. Yeah, he's good. He is good. They did beat Wolves at the start of the season 4-0. That was another result I wanted to talk about. Although they won 4-0, Wolves actually played very well and could have gotten a win against them. They almost had the first goal of the game, which would have really shooken up Man City. And then they almost, they had a push for a comeback, I think, in the second half, which was
So they had
convincing.
a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, and City
And it's
had
a
a hard
reduced-
time handling that.
It's a reduced Wolves too. It's not like the Wolves.
It's a
last
bad
season. There's no
Wolves.
Cunha. There's
It's a Wolves who lost against Bournemouth this week.
oofda.
Yeah, so not a good team. All right, now Arsenal versus Leeds, 5-0. Arsenal, I mean, we've covered them pretty well already. We beat
There's a big
ManUre,
takeaway.
and now we crushed Leeds.
Yeah. So crushing Leeds is not significant.
Mm-hmm.
Newly promoted. Trying to find their feet in the Premier League.
Right.
However, what is huge is Gyokeres. Or
Yep.
is it Gyokeres? How's it pronounced?
Yeah, it's Gyokeres.
Gyokeres.
Yep.
Gyokeres scoring 2 goals is huge.
Yeah,
That is exactly what you want.
yeah.
That is exactly what you want. That's going to give him confidence. He's like, okay, I can do this. I did it at Sporting in Portugal. I think I can do this here.
It's the
Because that's
same-
all he needs. He has the physical capabilities. He has the skill. It's a mind game for him. And a little bit of an adjustment to some elements of speed in the game. But he's a great athlete. He has the aptitude. But he needs the confidence. And this gave him that, which is scary. And I don't like it. But it's big. For Arsenal, it's huge.
Yeah, on that note about the confidence and his speed, a lot of people, and myself included, I watched the goal, I watched replays of it, and kind of picking it apart to see if this was impressive or not. And at first, I wasn't terribly impressed. I mean, when he scored, of course, it was pretty impressive. But then watching the replays, I was going, I don't know. I mean, he doesn't look terribly quick or agile or whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's a bad defense. But that is what good strikers do. They move so fluidly and so quickly that they don't look very impressive. If you look at old Thierry Henry highlights even, he gets the ball in midfield and he dribbles through players, but he's just kind of going in a straight line. He's not like doing a Messi, or Ronaldo, crazy, tricky thing. He's just moving towards the goal at a consistently fast pace and just kind of moving right around defenders. And that's what Gyokeres did. And what happens when a striker does that is that the defenders can't respond quick enough. because the guy's moving towards them.
At pace.
And so they end up on their back heel, and they end up looking like a bad defender because the guy is moving so quickly towards them. And that's what he did, and then he ended up, splitting the two defenders, going right into the near post. And very good shot. Two defenders and the goalie were going for it, and they, it just threaded the needle into the goal. So as average as it looked, that is a sign of a good striker. He makes it look average. He makes it look easy.
Yeah, he could be a beast. That's exciting for Arsenal. So, I got to get moving here soon. So
let's move forward then. Other thing about that game was 15-year-old Dowman came in. He won the penalty that gave Gyokeres his second goal, and he is looking really good. He's only 15, and it's like he just fit right in. He looked like any other.
Really, yeah.
15.
Yeah, I know. It's impressive.
That's really crazy.
That's impressive.
It would be one thing if you're a new player 20 years old, but 15 is insane.
Yeah.
And then we had a few injuries. Saka was injured, but it looks like he's fine. Odegaard had an upper body injury. He'll probably be fine. I can't remember who else. Anyways, Newcastle versus Liverpool tomorrow at Newcastle. What do you think about that?
I am pretty excited. There's all that tension around Isak. He's not going to play in the game.
You don't think so?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
I think Liverpool are going to, all hands on deck, do everything in their ability to get Isak at this point. I think they're fully committed to trying to make that happen. But they're also fully committed to managing their budget and not spending too much money. They're not like Real Madrid where they'll get to a certain point and they're like, you know what, we'll just pay anything. I don't think they want to drive a really hard bargain. And that's fair because it's going, no matter what, the transfer fee is going to be well over £100 million. So I think there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of shenanigans getting played by agents and a lot of bad advice, honestly.
Right.
But ultimately, it's resulting in Isak still thinks he's going to be a Liverpool player. And from everything I've heard, it sounds like he is not going to be playing for Newcastle against Liverpool.
Wow. I mean,
they're really still
he did show up to training, I believe, for Newcastle. I don't know if he actually trained, but
I've heard back and forth things. I've heard it's a done deal. He's staying.
Right.
I've heard they really want him to stay, but Liverpool are doubling down and coming harder, and he's wavering. I don't know. I think it would be fantastic if Newcastle kept him.
Sure.
You know, it's literally their only chance at continuing to compete for a Champions League spot.
Yep.
Without him, they're
in trouble.
Yeah,
I think Newcastle don't really care about the money. It has to be a ridiculous amount of money, and that could keep Liverpool away from him. Also, if I were Isak, I would play tomorrow, and I would score a goal against Liverpool, try to get the win, and be like, hey, I'm the player you need. I'm going to cost you 3 points if you don't.
Well, that's the thing. I think that when it comes to these guys, I think they do think that way, but they're businessmen.
Yeah,
the agents and the business managers and all the other people are, manipulating the situation in an effort in order to maximize profits. And so it results in training in a separate field or not training or like some weird protest thing or sending out, a message on social media. Oh, they were mean to me and I want to leave. And it's like, okay, dude, you want to leave? They're mean to you? What do you mean? Come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
It's fake. It's like it's all created by,
Yep. All right. Let me quick. How much time can you?
I got to get moving.
All right. Brentford beat Aston Villa. So Aston Villa are not all that great. Brentford is a better team than I thought they were. Burnley beat Sunderland.
It's a little surprising.
Yes, because Sunderland had that impressive win at the start of the season.
Yeah, they looked hot.
Yeah. So they're both low-table teams, and they're going
Let's get to Man U Fulham. Let's skip those.
Palace tied Nottingham. They're both competitive teams.
Everton beat Brighton.
Moyes is a good manager.
Yeah, they're gonna be mid-table.
Yep.
And if he gets a little money, they'll do a little better than that.
Yep. Fulham tied ManU. Here's a big note. Amorim, in his time at ManU, has won 28 points out of 29 games. Less than a point per game. He would be better off if he tied every game he's played. I mean, that is really bad. He is a bad manager.
Yeah, he's bad. They're dumb for hiring him. They should have put together the most outrageous compensation package of all time and convinced Carlo Ancelotti to come and coach, or Antonio Conte, or like just somebody who's a winner.
Yeah, some of those managers.
Well, what they shouldn't have done is they shouldn't have fired Jose Mourinho because they've been trash ever since.
Right.
But whatever.
Yeah.
It's just hopeless.
It's
like
hopeless.
Amorim, it's not that at some point he might be a good manager. He's just young and inexperienced, and he doesn't know what he's doing. It's too much pressure. It's over.
I shouldn't say he's bad though, because I think he did his game against Arsenal wasn't terrible. They got a pretty unlucky goal against Arsenal. I think they could still give a lot of the top teams trouble. And there are some managers who do this. They really play well against the top teams, and then they'll lose or tie against a team like Fulham.
They've got a ton of great players. They've got a lot of great players. So they might pull it together. There's just bad confidence. The confidence is low. Amorim is in uncharted waters for him in his career.
Yep.
He's never been in this situation before, and it's just it's definitely a tough situation. But a brilliant and very successful manager who's been in those situations and pulled themselves out of the depths of despair would do well. But instead they're like, let's go for a young, cool, hip manager who's going to bring a unique, cool style of attacking, entertaining soccer. Stupid, dumb, don't do that. Bad idea. It's about winning games.
Does not work.
Like barely escaping the relegation zone.
Yeah.